We would like to thank you for inviting us in our midst today. The information that I'm going to share with you is not my personal opinion. It is a collaborative effort that is gathered from every members of the agency that are involved, including our PIO. We'll be talking about topics for this presentation is the following. By the way, before I continue, plan review and permitting is only about 10% to our objectives under US EPA requirements, because US EPA gave us 100% funding. So 10% is what is in our objectives, but in the years we have been using about 50% of our FT. So there is an imbalance, but since this is our day-to-day, that we need to face on our job, and we have to give priority. So as I continue with, you will notice how it takes 5 days, 10 days, or 21 days to review a plan. So it includes the design approval and mandates, plan review and building permit, clearing, grading, stockpiling permits, miscellaneous permit, occupancy permit process, and also the 2011-2012 number of permits issued, and the challenges that we're facing. So there's a joke that when you cannot find your application, it will go to the stockpiling permit. That's point number 3. Okay, design approval. There are 2 things that we're doing here. Design approval that entails the following. DPW road construction and related project that entails water system with 6-inch pipe, 200 feet or longer, new or substantial alteration of the existing water system, and appurtenances. This definition actually was concluded with the federal projects, because we have to put guidelines on what is alteration, a substantial alteration. So Julie, Shen, and the agency come up into a point where 200 linear feet of 6-inch that covers most of the major projects on the island. So that's where the guidelines for determining whether your project requires design review, which is different from plan review and permitting. For the military project, this applies to all your projects, except just a small renovation or rehabilitation project. Then you don't have to comply with the design approval requirements. But in almost all your projects, it requires a design approval project. And this is the required submittal for the design approval project. 30-60%. Normally it was 30%. And again, because of the DOD, we agreed that 30-60 combined together. And so we accepted that to reduce the time of review. But what we required of the 30% design submittal is basis of design, general concept, and soil analysis. And on the 90% design submittal, we require respond to the 30-60% review comment. So when you submit your 100%, the military project, we don't require a permit. So that means that project is ready to go once we receive the response, probably the 60% or the 90% review comment that's ready to go for bid. But for any other projects, when we approve the 90% to the 100%, I mean, it's ready for permit. Okay, so you will come up with the contractor, and we will issue a building permit once we review that project, so you don't have to go over again on a review process. Okay, this is the process when we design approval. First, you have a project or the applicants, go to the front desk, and then it goes to me to determine whether should I run it through a safe drinking water program, to the water resources, to the water pollution program, air program, solid waste program, and hazard waste program. This is how the plans sometimes are messed up, because it has to go to all this process. Sometimes if the program don't have the issue, then we have to go to water pollution program. So, I'm looking at my, oh here. Okay, sometimes we don't have any UIC, then we have to go to water pollution and air program, the solid waste or hazardous waste. Sometimes we don't need them, so we just go straight back to the store program, then back to me, and then I will prepare an approval for that. And this is what we're asking and what we're looking at your submittals. Under the Safe Drinking Water Act, this is what we're looking at. Did you miss a guideline for water works development, in which we give it to the military, and mostly the engineers should have that. Under the Safe Drinking Water Act UIC and Wetland Protection Program, the questions, does the drainage system a UIC? Or is the project is within the 1,000 feet radius of an existing production well? And after that, we have to bring it to the Clean Water Act Water Pollution Control Program. And these are the questions that we're asking. Is it a wetland that require a 401 certification? Does it meet the DPW storm drain standard? Or it meets the CNMI Guam Stormwater Management? Okay, when it comes to storm drainage a project or issues. And do you have a clearing, grading, or stockpiling permit? That this project requires this permit? Or do you have an EVP, ECP, or BMPs included in your plan? And after that, you have to bring it to the Clean Air Program. They will be asking, does your dust control meet the Clean Air Act? Or does your exhaust meet the standard? Or do you have a generator operating permit? And after that, you have to bring the solid waste program. They will be asking the disposal plan. Is it a task? Did you identify your disposal area? Do you have an estimated quantity of a solid waste that is generated during the construction? And the last program is the UST. Okay, are there any oil water separator? Okay, I have to talk about that on the last part, because the oil water separator is still a proposed mandates under the revision of the UST, which is a federal mandate, but on Guam is still a proposed. And this is a timeline of completing the review process. You come, meet our reception, and they have at least a day to assort them, and he bring it to me. And after that, I have to look at it, who are the program that need to review this. And I bring it to Safe Drinking Water Program, which is still under my management because I am the program manager. And it goes to Safe Drinking Water Act under the UIC program. This is still, again, me as the program manager. And it goes to Clean Water Act, the Water Pollution Program, which is still me, I'm the acting manager. Okay? And then it goes to the other department, the clean water, the clean air, the solid waste, and the pesticide, and the hazardous waste. So those are the number approximate. When you see 0, that means that at that project, you don't have to bring it to these programs. So the approximate date or days that we can give you a comment to any submittal. Okay, we're talking about design review requires submittal, 3 submittals, 30, 60, 90, and 100%. So we have 11 to 37 days. The 11 means the most fastest way to do it, and 37 means it should be the maximum unless there are some other issues that we learn during the process. Okay, that was the design. Now we are going to the permits and permit review. Again, this applies to all other projects except the military project. Okay, permit application. There are 2 kinds also in the permit. We have a miscellaneous, all other projects other than the residential. That means any other project. Okay, you come with your application, go to planners, come to me, or sometimes it goes to the permitting section. Under the permitting section, he's going to, again, bring it to the same program. The safe drinking water, water resources, water pollution control, air programs, solid waste, and hazardous waste. It's the same process as the review process. The only difference is, okay, it's the same mandates that we're enforcing. See, when we review plan, we're not supposed to be giving our opinion, but rather giving the comment based on our mandates, on our regulation. And that is the basic thing that I'm going to enforce to all my staff who are doing the review. If you cannot cite me a citation from the federal or local regulation, I'm sorry, that is your opinion. It's not Guam EPA position. We can recommend opinion, but we cannot enforce it. And that's been some issues in the past, but we're trying to cut it down. Okay, I think there was one that's missing. What it is what are we asking when we have this permit? I think it was deleted, but it's similar to the design review, but it's more specific. Okay, like on the safe drinking water, what we'll be asking is, are your plumbing fittings are lead-free, or does it meet the NSF requirement? Or do you have water treatment in the system? Or do you have a water storage tank? Okay, does your plan meet, again, the requirement for the drinking water? There's a guidelines for drinking water review, so that's what we're looking at. For the UIC, it's the same thing, okay, that's being used, okay, and the construction. Okay, there is an executive order that requires Guam EPA to enforce the 2 guidelines in its specific project. Under the Executive Order 2012-02, relative to adopting the stormwater management criteria for Guam, the Guam Transportation Stormwater Drainage Manual prepared by the DPW is hereby adopted for use in all local and federal aid public transportation projects, including highway and roadway projects. So if you come as a consultant contractor, you come and request for a meeting to discuss your project, you know what, the first thing I'm gonna ask you, have you read the manual? Did you follow the requirements in the manual? And if you don't, I recommend that you go back and email me if you have some question regarding the manual, refer it to DPW. No, I'm not kidding. Then we can meet. But that's the first thing I'm gonna ask you, okay? Because every comment, every review, we have to base on this. This manual was prepared in particular to address all the issue of the environment. And they are very comprehensive, they're very specific, and I think they are all, if you adopt them, then you have no problem with Guam EPA. That is for every project, highway project. For any other project, including the military, this is the question we ask you. Do you comply with the CNMI and Guam storm management criteria? Actually, since the executive order doesn't specifically mention DOD, but DOD adopted to use this manual to design the storm drainage system. So that is what we're basing our review, just on this manual. And it is available in here. If some of you want a copy, we have all in this CD. There's a volume 1 and volume 2. Okay, this is, I think it was, okay, this is what we're asking when we're reviewing a submittal for building permit. See, when this plan is normally 100% already, it's 100% design ready for permit. And these are the questions we're asking you for a specific program. So with the same timeline that we had with the design review, this is what entails for us to complete a building permit application. Okay, it goes to reception, it goes to me, or it goes direct to the permitting, and it goes to every program. And with that, we have about 8 to 20 days to complete. If the plan is complete and no major concern, it will go straight to the permitting section, it's ready for permit. However, if there are issues that requires Guam EPA letters, which is we normally do, all our comment will be written and official and signed by the acting chair. That will be the Guam EPA position. And one thing that we try to get away with it, any information that you gather from any of the staff are not part of the position unless they are properly documented. And we discourage to do that because we don't want double standard. We just want to be discussing based on a regulation, not on anybody's opinion. So that is a policy that we're trying to engage with. And 8 to 20 days depending, again, on the backlog that we have. You know, we do have some backlog for the last year, and we're trying to work on that. The reason for that is there was some inaccuracy of defining what is UIC, what is other issues, which is I'll discuss to you next. Okay, now the residential, which include a single house, duplex. We call that a residential. Any other projects, we call that a miscellaneous. And this is the process. Okay, you have your plan, come to the front desk. It goes direct to the permitting section. And with that, he has to go out, and the inspector will go out and determine whether your septic tank and leaching well or your property has no houses yet. In the past, we found out that when we approve plan, it's not in the plan that there's already existing house on the property. So when we inspect the septic tank before issuing the occupancy permit, we found out that there are already buildings or houses in the property. And if it's not on the plan, of course, land management always the authority to determine the authorized zoning. Once land management stamp, then we are ready to go. It's not our responsibility to determine whether that property is allowed for a single house. So we require inspection, even just a single house, prior to approving your plan. Okay, so that's where the inspection in that area. Then it goes back again to the separating water, water resources, and a pesticide. And a pesticide, you have to pay a certain fee for that. So again, with our residents, we have about 2 to 4 days that we can do it, just because of the inspection. If you are a sewer connection, that will waive, okay, that inspection. And the only program that will review that is this program, and after review it, and there's no issue about 1,000 feet radius, and you have to pay the pesticide, then we just go straight and ready to issue the permit. So it's possible. Okay, that 2 to 4 days could be possible the same day or the following day. Okay, again, it depends on this guy here, which is my son. I'm training somebody to work on that. Clearing, grubbing, the stockpiling permit is not there, right? Oh, it's there. That's where all the permit goes. Okay. So this is the process. The military, the DOD projects are very much involved in this. Almost all the projects, DOD has to come to us. Okay, just to remind you, military project goes in 2 ways. You have to comply with the Safe Drinking Water Act and this soil erosion regulation. So there are only 2 basic requirements. And under this submittal, we actually include all other requirements because as you could see in here, okay, when you come up with a project, it goes to front desk, it's going to determine, because you know what, when you come with your project, I think come with stockpile flats like this. Even though they are in like 11 by 17, it's still a good as much. I think it requires 2 manpower to carry just one submittal. Okay, so what it is it goes to the front desk to determine Because your transmitter, this is, I have the specification, I have the soil test, EPP, ECP, and so much sensor plan. She has to determine, because once it's done that, and these guys get away, and then they will come and claim, hey, I have submitted all of this. And the secretary said, no, you did not submit that. So make sure that each one of the submittal are correctly transpired in your transmitter. Okay, that's what the front end. So it goes, come to me, then I'm gonna go to this guy for inspection, that is Johnny. Okay, so every single project for clearing and grading, he has to inspect. And after that, it goes back to the permitting, and if there are issues about wetland or 401 certification, it's this here. And again, it's the same person that going out, is the same individual that process before it goes back to me. The DOD project has to go to the Samoa, okay? And also to the solid waste before it goes back to me. So there's some other process that goes through. That's why we have that 5 to 21 days because of the inspection. And of course, if you have some issues here, it will be longer. But the process is from here, from there, it goes to here, and goes back to him, and goes back to me for signature. And that takes about 5 to 21 days. And there's some conditions on that. Oh, here's also the application for grading clearing permit. I'm sorry, it's hard to read, but this application has to be filled out, and there's boxes in here. You just have to check the boxes that applies. This is for general permit, but some of the military project doesn't require most of the information here. So it's being used right now on this format. This again was created because of the DOD military buildup. Again, after we issue the permit, then after a while, they will come back with occupancy permit. That's still permit. We're talking about permit here. Okay, you come here with your occupancy permit clearance and go to the front desk, go to the permitting section. Again, we have issues here because public works sometimes they just bypass Guam EPA for some projects. I think they're using UBC under, if it's a rehabilitation, repair, there's so many percent that they don't have to Guam EPA. However, during the occupancy permit, they required Guam EPA clearance. So when we find out that you don't have any permit, before we can even accommodate you, we will tell you, go back and get your permit. So that's some of the issues. So if not, then what it is on the permitting is, again, there's another inspection, okay? We have the inspection like grazing trap or septic leaching field. Okay, for the drinking water issue, this applies to military in almost all military projects. The lead or bacteria test result, that is under the Safe Drinking Water Act. And to the area, like if you have a generator, we require you to submit your operating permit, generator permit. If you have a USD, you have to get that permit. And solid waste, you have to show to us that your solid waste disposal are in proper place. They were disposed in the right place. That's what we approve. So it requires about 2 to 8 days. Okay, even this is very short when it comes to the requirement here, and sometimes the requirement in here. So there's the whole thing in here, okay, to complete one project. And this is what this is. There was a notion, so much permits. Yes, indeed. We issued about just only for the residential and miscellaneous. In 2001, we issued more than 700 permits, almost 800 permits. And for the 2012, more than 600 permits. For the design review, we have about 150 for both here. In the clearing grading, about almost 200. Drilling and test boring permit, about 100 some. And well operating permit goes up to 500 level. So this is all permits that we're checking. I don't even mention about the air permit. I do not even mention other permits that issued by the other divisions. So this only for 2 years. Okay, the potential delays that may come up during the process of reviews on both the design review and the permit. Document submittal is not complete. More information is needed about particular part of the project. That site has a wetland or prior use issues. Note the timeline projected here are for a project with complete documentation and no pending environment issues. So that was, those timeline that we told, we posted there. Okay, USA, this one, just want to find, I'm looking at this to work on this. Okay, actually Guam has received or granted the privacy in mid-2, 1983, using this GAR. Okay, this is the old the regulation. And this is the definition of injection well. It's a bore-driven, dug or drilled well, gallery or other systems in all appurtenances for the purpose of disposing of municipal, industrial, and any other waste, including surface water and stormwater through subsurface emplacement of effluent or fluids. This is a bit very broad or general, and so in I forgot the date, but just recently, about 2-3 years ago, there was an amendment of the regulation, the Federal Register, and they define what is injection well. And this is the new definition. A bore, drilled, or driven shaft whose depth is greater than the largest surface dimension. That is one definition. The second one, or a dug hole whose depth is greater than the largest surface dimension. That's the circular, or an improved sinkhole, or a subsurface fluid distribution system. Okay, I will end up on this. I'm working with my legal counsel, and next week I'll be going to USCPA Region 9 to clarify this definition, because that really impacts most of your projects. Okay, the way we interpret the UIC in the past are a little bit confusing. Okay, some of you heard about the 2/3 opening. I did not see that in the definition, and I work with our legal counsel, and she referred to me to work with the source of that definition, and I will go back to USCPA Region 9 and discuss the definition before we officially inform the public that this is what we require when a UIC is defined in your storm drainage system. Challenges. Manpower shortage, everybody knows, people, if you come to our office, our stockpiles of plant are more than in our overhead, but few people are working at the table, so that's where the lack of resources, the vehicle, maybe computer, outdated regulation overdue for review. We're working with that, however, our legal counsel are busy defending Guam EPA for so many issues. So my program alone, that division alone, I have like UIC regulation need to be revised, safe drinking water regulation need to be revised, observed regulation, stormwater regulation, wellhead protection, or almost regulation need to be updated or renewed to maintain the privacy that we have from USCPA. Planning with projects in anticipation that we built up. There were more and more residential, commercial, and other projects that's coming up, even though the military buildup is not at hand. You have seen the 2011, 2012 permits that we issued. That's how busy Guam EPA is. In that, thank you so much. Any other question you may ask, and if I cannot answer it, I will bring it with me with my PIO, so we can answer it to you. Any questions?
Yes. In some of your charts there, it shows the process going from one to another.
Yes, sir.
Is it possible that with additional copies submitted that there be some parallel action in your office?
Well, if you notice it in there with just only 1 or 2 days, what it is, if we only have one, or we call it the routing slip. We don't want to make more than one routing slip because that's where the problem is. Okay, so what we do, that's why we limit the plan to every section. So that way you know what happened now is if section has a lot of pending, then we give it to the other section. Okay, so having 2 or 3 is confusing because that means it requires 3 routing slips, and sometimes it's very confusing. Okay, so we just have 1 routing slip, but as I said, what we're doing, if one program is busy, then we have to bring it to the other program. So not necessarily in the same order, but whoever can review the plan will bring it to them. So thank you for that, but our office, I think, is becoming already a hazard because of SULA's plans. Any questions? Yes. Oh, yes.
Hey, Joe. Can you talk a little bit more about when you expect to get feedback from Region 9 on the definition?
Yeah, okay, what it is as I showed to you, the definition, and also there's an issue out there, because the new definition, it is a new register that Guam EPA is not adopted yet. Guam EPA did not adopt the new the federal regulation where the clarification of definition is. So that's the issue I'm going to discuss.
My understanding is that the local regulations are a little more strict than the federal regulations.
Okay, what it means, if you are more stringent, this is the way it is. We have a primacy for the USC. The only way you can maintain the primacy is to adopt the new revision of the regulation. We haven't adopted yet. Okay, so the issue is we should be implementing the old definition. Okay, but so it is in between right now, and we probably ask USCPA to have an MOU with Guam EPA to enforce the regulation while in the process of adopting the regulation. I'm talking about the revised federal register. Okay? Any other questions? Okay, thank you.
Angel, thank you.